Good morning. Today we are going to discuss about translations method. The first time, I'll start about my presentation from word for word translation. The second, literal translations by Putri Mungkur. The third, faithful translations by Fernando SH and Melissa Hutojulu. And the last, semantic translations by Risa Silalahi and Sondan Sinaga. Word for word translation. The main use of word for word translation is either to understand the mechanics of the source language or to construct a difficult text as a pre-translation process. According to Neymark and Hartono argues that in the word for word translations method, the words in the target text are usually placed directly under the version of the source text. So this translation method is often called the interlinear translations method. This translations method is very tight of the word level, so the wording is very well preserved. The wording in the translated sentence is exactly the same as the wording in the source language sentence. Each word is translated one by one based on the general meaning or out of the context. This translations method is generally used by translators at the pre-translation process stage, normally when the translator at the time of translating the text has difficulty or when the translator needs to understand the mechanisms of the source language first. This translation method is also usually used at the analysis stage of the source text or the initial text of translations. Example 1 is, in English, he like this traditional music. In Indonesia, dia suka ini traditional music. The second sample in English, Yuni will arrive in Medan. In Indonesia, Yuni akan tiba di Medan besok.
Okay, I will continue. Literal translation or also called straight translation or linear translation is between word for word translation and free translation. Newmark 1988 until 46. In the translation process, the translator look for the grammatical construction for the source language that is commensurate with or close to the target language. This literal translation method is independent of context. Translator usually first translate the source text like how to word for word, but he then adapt the wording to the target grammar. For example, English, they stay in a old house now. In Indonesia, mereka tinggal di sebuah rumah tua sekarang. The last, English, the sooner the better. Indonesia, lebih cepat lebih baik.
Okay, I will continue to explain about faithful translation. Faithful translation attempts to reproduce the precise contextual meaning of the original within the constraint of the grammatical structure. It transfers culture, words, and preserves the degree of grammatical and the lexical abnormality or deviation from source language norms in the translation. It attempts to be complete faithful to the intention and the text realization of the source language writer. According to Newmark, faithful translation method is used by the translator by he try to reproduce the contextual meaning of the original text correctly within the constraint of the grammatical structure of the target text.
So I will continue with the topic faithful translation. In the translation process, words containing cultural values are translated contextually by maintaining the authenticity of the message, but there are still grammatical deviations that are allowed and the choice of words is not flexible. This translation method adheres to the intent and purpose of the source text, so that the translation result sometimes feels stiff and often feel foreign. By using this translation method, translation maintains the aspect of format or in legal text, aspect of form or in poetry text, metaphorical form or in literary text translation, and themes form or in informative text, so that the reader can still see the complete fidelity in terms of its form in the target language, even though the result of the translation is unusual or unknown. This translation is often called translationist. For example, in English, he was sent to a normal school in a small town. In Indonesia, dia dikirimkan ke sekolah normal di sebuah kota kecil. Example 2. In English, I have quite a few friends. In Indonesia, saya mempunyai sama sekali tidak banyak teman. Well, in the next topic, my friends will read it.
Okay, my friends, my name is Krisa Jessica Silalahi. I will next our presentation, the semantic translation. Semantic translation differs from literal translation because this method must take more account of the aesthetic value, that is, the beautiful and natural sound of the SL text, compromising in meaning where appropriate, so that no assonance, wordplay or repetition jars in the finished version. The distinction between semantic and faithful translation is that the first is uncompromising and dogmatic, while the second is more flexible.
Alright, I'm Sonang Sinaga, want to continue explain about semantic translation. Semantic translation is more flexible than faithful translation. According to Nemark and Macaulay, faithful translation is more rigid and doesn't compromise with the rules of the target language, or is more tied to the source language, while semantic translation is more flexible with the target language. Different from the faithful translation, must consider the aesthetic elements of the source language text by compromising the meaning as long as it is within the limits of reasonables. We see in example, in English, keep the grass, but in Indonesia, jauhi rumput ini. We see another example. In English, she is wearing a heavy jacket, but in meaning Indonesia, dia memakai sebuah jaket. So thank you for your great attention. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your listening. May all those we have shared be beneficial for all of us.